Okay, this video is going to show you how to write code that causes there to be a delay in parts of your output to make things easier to read. And so I'm going to demonstrate that right now. Let's take the lunchcost.java program that we wrote for the Chapter 5 C assignment, I think it was. And the lunch cost program, if you run it, you'll notice that the very first 5 lines show up right away. So let's do that again just to make sure. So if we're looking down here and I run this, notice then what happens is, whoops, it just shows up one right after the other really quickly. Alright, it would be nice if maybe the first line, after the first line, that there would be a delay before the second line came in to give you enough time to read the first line, and so on and so forth as you go through the program. And so we're going to show how to do that at this time. And so if we look at this code right here, and I'm going to kind of hide some of this, because this right here is really the code that causes this to happen. So now this is it's a little bit of a modified version, and so I'm just really keeping this simple. There's a way that you can do this a little bit differently, but this will work. And so it's using try and catch, and you actually have several methods in here that are being used from the Java library. And so this is all built in. No import statements needed or anything. And so basically what this is saying is, when this code is compiled, what's going to happen is the compiler is going to wait 3,000 milliseconds before it goes on to the next line of code after this try and catch thing. So basically, since it says 3,000, that means 3 seconds. So if I typed in a 13, so 13,000, that would mean 13 seconds. All right. So since we don't have to be real precise about this, I'm just doing it like this. So we're just keeping it thousands, and however many seconds you want, you put that after or before the 3 zeros. Right? So this is going to cause the compiler to wait 3 seconds before going on to the next line of code. Now, in our lunch cost program, I can't remember how many times I put it in here, but you can put this delay in about 8 times or so. And now, but if you imagine having this code in here 8 times in your program, that's going to really make the program code a lot longer. And so there's a lot more code than what you need. So I asked the classes, well, what can we do to make it so all we have to do is type it once and then make it work? And they came up with the answer. Basically, what you want to do is you would put it inside of a method. So here's the method. And you can name it whatever you want. This is one that we would make ourselves. This is a method that we would create ourselves. And so you can name it. I'm naming this delay. And so we're putting this code that really causes it to happen inside the body of a method. And then how do we get, every time we want this to be executed, then we just use a method call. So if we then were to kind of, let's say, take a look at this, I'll give you an idea. But I'd really like you to try this yourself, is to put those method calls where you think they would fit. And so I'm going to just show you here. Notice here in the welcome method, I called the delay method. And so it would print welcome to lunch cost calculator, and then it would delay for 3 seconds, and then it would go on to the next line and print I will calculate the cost of lunch for you, and then I put another delay. So there'll be wait 3 seconds before the next line gets printed. So the idea here is for you to, in your code, go ahead and make a method, and you can put it anywhere, either before the main method or after the main method somewhere, but don't put it inside of another method. And then put the variable calls where you think would be helpful to make the code, or I'm sorry, to make the output easier to read, more relaxing to read for the user. And so that's something you should try. We're going to try to get everybody to get that in this program. So that is it. That's how it works.